Ask yourself, what fuels the enduring conflict between Russia and Ukraine? The roots of this conflict can be traced back to the end of the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, Ukraine declared independence, marking the start of a new era. But the ties that once bound these nations together were not easily severed. The complex entanglement of their shared history, cultural ties, and geopolitical interests continued to simmer beneath the surface. Fast forward to 2014. The annexation of Crimea by Russia sparked a new wave of tension. This move, seen by many as a blatant violation of Ukraine's sovereignty, ignited a conflict that continues to this day. But the situation was further complicated by the rise of separatist movements in eastern Ukraine. The Donetsk and Luhansk regions, with significant Russian-speaking populations, found themselves caught in the crossfire of allegiance. These regions became the epicenter of a conflict that has since claimed thousands of lives and displaced countless others. At the heart of this conflict lie deep-seated geopolitical factors. Russia, seeking to maintain its influence in the post-Soviet space, views Ukraine's westward leanings with concern. Ukraine, on the other hand, yearns for autonomy and closer ties with the West. Then there are the cultural factors. The shared history and close cultural ties between Russia and Ukraine have often been a source of unity. However, they have also been a source of division, as competing narratives of national identity and historical memory play out against the backdrop of this conflict. Understanding the past sets the stage to comprehend the present. As we delve further into the perspectives of Russia and Ukraine in the following scenes, keep in mind the historical, geopolitical, and cultural roots of this enduring conflict. Now imagine viewing the conflict through Russian eyes. To understand Russia's perspective, we must first delve into the geopolitical scene. The expansion of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, plays a crucial role in Russia's stance. Since the end of the Cold War, NATO has continued to grow, incorporating countries that were once part of the Soviet sphere of influence. Russia sees this as a direct threat, perceiving NATO's growth as an encroachment on its borders. Next, we turn to the matter of Russian-speaking minorities in Ukraine. Russia claims it's acting to protect these groups, which comprise a significant portion of Ukraine's population, particularly in the eastern regions. These claims are rooted in historical ties and cultural similarities, with Russia expressing concern over alleged discrimination and violence against these communities. Lastly, we must consider Russia's strategic interests. Ukraine's position as a bridge between Russia and Europe cannot be overstated. It's not just about land, but also about influence and control over vital energy routes. For instance, much of Europe's natural gas supply transits through Ukraine. A shift in control could significantly impact Russia's economic and geopolitical standing. However, it's important to recognize that these reasons are not universally accepted. Critics argue that Russia's actions are driven more by a desire to reassert its dominance in the post-Soviet space than by the reasons it publicly cites. The reality is likely a complex mix of all these factors. Of course, this perspective is not without its contradictions. For instance, while Russia cites the protection of Russian-speaking minorities as a reason for its actions, it's worth noting that not all of these communities support Russia's intervention. Furthermore, while expressing concern over NATO's expansion, Russia has taken actions that have arguably pushed more countries towards seeking NATO membership for security. So, while we can attempt to understand Russia's perspective, it's essential to consider these complexities and contradictions. The situation is far from black and white, and the motivations behind Russia's actions are multifaceted and nuanced. A narrative, as seen from the Kremlin, paints a different picture. Shift your gaze now. What if you were standing in Kyiv? Imagine the vibrant city of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, filled with a spirit of resilience. From this perspective, the conflict with Russia is not just a geopolitical power struggle, but a fight for the heart of a nation, its sovereignty, and its identity. Ukraine, a country rich in history and culture, has long aspired to integrate more closely with the West. It dreams of a future where it can stand as an equal among nations, free to forge its own destiny. The conflict with Russia, therefore, is seen as an existential threat to these aspirations. It's a battle to defend their right to self-determination, to protect their democratic ideals, and to resist the shadows of a past they wish to leave behind. But the struggle comes with a cost. The war has taken a toll on Ukraine's economy and people. Natural gas prices, a significant revenue source for Ukraine, have dropped significantly since the invasion. The war has disrupted trade routes and scared off foreign investors. The Ukrainian economy, though resilient, is under immense pressure. And then there's the human cost. The population bears the brunt of the conflict, living in uncertainty and fear. Yet, amidst this adversity, the Ukrainian spirit remains unbroken. The people stand united, their resolve strengthened by the trials they face. As for Ukraine's international relations, it's a balancing act. While they maintain neutrality in conflicts like Israel does, they also seek support from Western powers. They appreciate the humanitarian aid, the shared intelligence, and any help that strengthens their defenses. But they yearn for more. More support in their fight for sovereignty, more understanding of their struggle, more recognition of their aspirations. From Ukraine's viewpoint, it's a fight for survival and identity. Where does the conflict stand today, and what could it mean for the world tomorrow? As we speak, the Russia-Ukraine conflict continues to evolve, with its ripples felt across the globe. Recent developments have seen a shift in international reactions and alliances. For instance, Israel, historically neutral, hints at a potential change in stance. Former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, upon his return to office, has indicated a possibility of supporting Ukraine. This strategic move seems to be a response to a reduced Russian threat in Syria and an opportunity to test defense systems against Iranian weapons. It could also be an attempt to improve relations with the Biden administration, who had expressed concerns about Netanyahu's new coalition government. On the economic front, the conflict has had a significant impact on energy markets, particularly natural gas. Europe and the United States have seen natural gas prices significantly drop to pre-crisis levels. This decline is driven by factors such as warmer weather, increased gas storage, reduced demand, and diversification of gas imports. However, the impact on retail prices may take time to materialize due to fixed or capped pricing in some countries. Despite the recent price decrease, European gas prices remain high compared to historical averages, posing ongoing concerns for consumers and businesses. The conflict's implications for regional and global stability are vast and complex. The potential shift in Israel's stance is just one example of how the conflict could reshape geopolitical alliances. The effects on natural gas prices underscore the conflict's potential to impact global economies. Looking ahead, the conflict could continue to trigger shifts in alliances and create economic ripples. It could influence the strategies nations adopt, the alliances they form, and the way they navigate their economic landscapes. It's a testament to the interconnected nature of our world, where a conflict in one region can send shockwaves that are felt globally. The ripples of the Russia-Ukraine conflict reach far beyond their borders, shaping the world as we know it.